Jai Om Vishnupad Param Parajacharya Stotra Satyajvan Geshtha Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Param Parajacharya Stotra Satyajvan Geshtha Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Shri Navadip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Yamuna Mai Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Kalip Pavan Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai. Hare Krishna Mahamantra Ki Jai. Samved Bhakta Vinda Ki Jai. Pancha Tattva Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga.
Translation. The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can attain pure devotional service. I bow to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. My only wish is to have my consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens my darkened eyes and fills my heart with transcendental knowledge. He is my Lord, birth after birth. From him ecstatic prema emanates. By him ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master is an ocean of mercy, friend of the poor and Lord and master of the devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. May your fame be spread over the three worlds. We take shelter at your lotus feet. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Very quiet. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Yeah, this is much better. Thank you. Hare Are you speaking German?
Huh?
Do you want me to mix these words? Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Can this go any higher?
No, this one doesn't go any higher.
No, you sure?
Actually, no, it will. This is the lowest setting. This is the lowest setting, I think.
Yeah, that's better. Hare Krishna. Can you pass me my mobile from there? Thank you. Hare Krishna. Yeah, that'll be fine. That's okay. Thank you. Can this be connected or
I'm not sure. This is a new technology.
can we connect or is it possible? Yeah, sure. Because then everybody can read, If it is not possible, then don't take trouble. I'll just read through.
Which was
What? Srimad Bhagavatam, yeah.
Can we do it from this? From Veda based only, no, Guruji?
Yeah, yeah.
We can try this one.
Let's try this.
Guruji, you start doing
Kirtan.
Kirtan, Guruji.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah, we have experts here, so no problem. Okay, we'll sing Radha Madhava in the meantime, and then we'll start the class. Hare Krishna, everybody. Welcome to Srimad Bhagavatam class on first Saturday of the month. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय श्री राधा माधव की राधा गोकुलानंद की सत्य की श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. Any success? Is it there?
No, it's because you've got to use the remote. If we had a connection to the laptop quick. So
You can connect it, or you haven't got connection.
No.
So what do you want to do now? Share.
No, see, this is the 1728. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Just this one there.
Yeah. Hare Krishna. I think you're right, Prabhuji. I think this corner will be better. Everybody.
We just discussed.
Yeah. That'll be a good idea. Everybody can see that then. See.
I think we will try actually better there.
The corner, yes.
Over there, definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
Second time lucky, hopefully.
Yeah, either this side or that side.
See, here if you put, it has to be on the top, but here need not to be on the top. Just above the speaker, we can just fix it here. Yeah, set wall and then pull it like this. So people need not to overstretch their neck as well. There will be. We will take that picture. We'll take that picture. Okay. In the meantime, you can
Start?
Start with Mangala Charan.
Yeah.
Otherwise, devotee or three down grade.
Om Agyantimirandasya Gyananjana Chakshur Ulminitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakantamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, today's subject is working? Not working. No, we can manage without it. If there's too much trouble, no point. I'll read through the verses. Don't worry about it. It's okay. We'll manage. Next time we can work properly and test it properly, and then we can. So no problem. It's all right. Yeah, he's got direct here. Now? Has it come now? Okay, done? All right, very good. Thank you. Okay, so today's subject is Great Vaishnavas. What you want to do?
It's not coming
A mirror screen you want to do?
we want to mirror the screen. What's that?
Is this one? From where it is coming? This one? Is that screenshot? Is it a screenshot?
I think it's like, extend. In extend, we need to make it a duplicate.
Yeah, duplicate it.
No, this is the Chrome. Forget it otherwise. If there's too much trouble.
Display probably. Display, go to display and extend.
Display. Okay.
No, it's different, but why don't you display?
Device.
Displays. And then
Mirror.
mirror built-in display.
Okay. Should be there now. So that's Vaishnavas never give up. See, that's why today's subject is the great Vaishnavas. You see, isn't it? Yeah. So that's why we say Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu bevacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. What is it?
Hare Krishna.
Okay, everybody can see now? Okay. So I offer my respect, that's why we say, I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnavas, devotees of the Lord. They can fulfill the desires of everyone just like desire tree, and they are full of compassion for the fallen souls. So that's why we say the great Vaishnavas. So I think many of people from last time, they haven't come. I had spoken about it last time on this subject from the previous chapter, verse 4, I think 16 chapter, 4th verse. So I'll just recap it about it. So I'll do the verse first and then I'll recap it. Okay, Narayana Para Sarve Narayana Para Sarve Na Kutaschana Bibhyati Na Kutaschana Bibhyati Swarga Apavarga Narkeshwa Api Tulyartha Darshinaha Api Tulyartha Darshinaha Narayana Para Sarve Na Kutaschana Bibhyati Swarga Apavarga Api Narkeshu Api Tulyartha Darshinaha Narayana Para Sarve Na Kutaschana Bibhyati Swarga Apavarga Narkeshwa Api Tulyartha Darshina Narayana Para Sarve Na Kutaschana Bibhyati Swarga Apavarga Narkeshwa Api Tulyartha Darshina Narayana Para Sarve Na Kutaschana Bibhyati
Svargapavarga
Narkeshwa
Api Tulyartha Darshana
Api Tulyartha Darshina
Narayana Para Sarve
Narayana Para Sarve
Na Kutaschana Bibhyati
Na Kutaschana Bibhyati
Svargapavarga Narakeshu
Swargapavarga Narkeshu
Api Tulyartha Darshinaha
Api Tulyartha Darshina Narayana Para Sarve Na Kutaschana Bibhyati
Swargapavarga Narakeshu
Swargapavarga Narkeshu
Api Tulyartha Darshinaha
Api Tulyartha Darshina Narayana Para Sarve
Na Kutaschana Bibhyati
Na Kutaschana Bibhyati
Swargapavarga Narakeshu
Swargapavarga Narkeshu
Api Tulyartha Darshinaha
Api Tulyartha Darshinaha
नारायण परा सर्वे
Narayana para sarve
न कुतश्चन बिभ्यति
न कुतश्चन बिभ्यति
स्वर्गापवर्ग नरकेषु
Sargapaka narkeshva
अपि तुल्यार्थ दर्शनः
api tulyartha darshana. Okay, very good. Word by word we'll do. Narayana Paraha, pure devotees who are interested only in the service of Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Pure devotees who are interested in only in the service of Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Sarve,
Sarve,
all,
na,
not,
kutaschana,
anywhere,
bibhyati,
are afraid,
swarga,
in the higher planetary systems,
apavarga,
in liberation,
narakeshu,
and in the hell, api, even, tulya,
equal,
artha, value, darshinaha, who see. Translation. Devotees solely engage in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, never fear any condition of life. For them, the heavenly planets, liberation, and the hellish planets are all the same. For such devotees are interested only in the service of the Lord. Please repeat after me. Translation. Devotees solely engaged in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, never fear any condition of life. For them, the heavenly planets, liberation, and the hellish planets are all the same. For such devotees are interested only in the service of the Lord. Very nice. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Parvati might naturally have inquired how devotees become so exalted. Therefore, this verse explains that they are Narayana Para, simply dependent on Narayana. They do not mind reverses in life because in the service of Narayana, they have learned to tolerate whatever hardships they may be. They do not care whether they are in heaven or in hell. They simply engage in the service of the Lord. This is their excellence. Anukulena Krishnanu Shilanam. They are liberally engaged in the service of the Lord, and therefore they are excellent. By using the word Bhrityanam, Lord Shiva pointed out that although Chitraketu provided one example of tolerance and excellence, all the devotees who have taken shelter of the Lord as eternal servants are glorious. They have no eagerness to be happy by being placed in the heavenly planets, becoming liberated, or becoming one with Brahmana, the supreme effulgence. These benefits do not appeal to their minds. They are simply interested in giving direct service to the Lord. And that's why we are here. So I'll just recap, because many of us, we are not present last time. Only a couple of people, 2-3 people, they were here last time. So I'll just recap what it was last time. There was verse in the last time we did the verse, by the mystic power of Narad Muni, the living entity re-entered his dead body for a short time and spoke in reply to Narad Muni's request. He said, according to the results of my fruitive activities, I, the living being, transmigrated from one body to another, sometimes going to the species of the demigods, sometimes to the species of lower animals, sometimes among the vegetables, and sometimes to the human species. Therefore, in which birth were these my mother and father? no one is actually my mother and father. How can I accept these two people as my parents? So it was said by the son of Chitraketu, who was re-entered into the body by the mercy of Narad Muni. So I'll just recap. Tomorrow we have Radha Ashtami, by the way, 4th of September, sorry. And Radha Ashtami, Mother Radha's favorite pet is? Parrot. And what's his name in Sanskrit? Shuka. Okay. And Srimad Bhagavatam is repeated by Shukadev Goswami. So that's how his name came on, Shukadev Goswami, because he repeated the name of Krishna. Because Radharani used to repeat, call Krishna, and parrot used to repeat. That's why she was happy with that pet, you see. And that's why Shukadev Goswami he repeated the name of Krishna, or Lord Narayan or Vishnu, and the whole Srimad Bhagavatam. That's why he's called Shukadev Goswami, Shuka. So we are also here. That's why we repeat everything. Whatever Srila Prabhupada said, we repeat everything. See, that's why we are also Shuka. So we'll have to show that tomorrow, that how we are Shuka, by celebrating Radha Ashtami with full Shuka. Yes, servants of Shuka. Yeah, servants also Shuka. They are also Shuka. Children of parrots are also parrots. So we are also part of it. Thank you, Prabhuji. Okay, so Radharani's appearance day tomorrow. So Parikshit Maharaj asked this question after Vritrasura was killed by Indradev. Parikshit Maharaj asked Sukhdev Goswami that how he was a asura, and how he was transformed, how he could, like, even while on the battlefield, he was giving knowledge, like he was speaking like Vaishnava to Indradev. He was, teaching them what is right etiquettes for the Vaishnavas, you see. And how he could do that, he was asura. Asuras are normally like against Lord Vishnu, Lord Narayana, but he is like speaking like Vaishnavas, you see. How can that be possible? So Sukhdev Goswami told him the story that about the Chitraketu Maharaj, because in the previous birth, before Vritasura become Asura, he was Chitraketu, Lord Maharaj Chitraketu, and he was morose because he didn't have any child, son especially. See, why they were used to have asked for Putra? Putra means Pu is one of the worst hellish planets, where somebody can go, but was one of the worst hellish planets in the universe, you see. So Putra, the one who delivers from that, even that planet. That's why he used to ask for the Putra, see. So he didn't have Putra, that's why he was a bit of morose, you see, because he was sad. And then Angira Muni and Narad Muni, they helped him. They came and they blessed him that he will have a son. You see, he had a son from his wife, from his first wife. And after he had a son, there was jubilation. Obviously, he was happy. But his other wives, because they didn't have any child, they were not very happy that she has the child in the family, first son, and we haven't got any. So they poisoned that child, and that child obviously died. So after the child died, again everybody was like mourning and sad, see, in the family. At that time, again, Angira Muni and Narad Muni came, and they explained him, you are a Vaishnava, and you always served your subjects of your kingdom very nicely, and you shouldn't be like behaving like crying and complaining like that, you see. Then Narad Muni and Angira, they explained him, but he was not like kind of happy. Other family members were not happy as well. So with the mercy of Narad Muni, he brought his son back into the life. And what I read from the last time, he explained everything. His son came back in life, and he told him that previously I was son of somebody else, and then somebody else. So in every life, nobody is like your own child or your son or father or mother. So how can you be my like my mother and father. I have, every birth, I have different father and mother. So now I have gone through this life, and next I probably have different mother and father. So everything is temporary. So you shouldn't be mourning for something temporary. See, that's what he explained him. Then he understood what his son said, and then obviously his son, after he died again, and then they performed all the rituals for him, and after that Narad Muni, he gave a mantra, see, to recite to Chitraketu Maharaj. See, Chitraketu Maharaj, only for 6 days he recited the mantra, and he saw the result. You see, and Chitraketu. One minute. Okay, so after only chanting for a few days the mantra, Lord Nityananda appeared in front of Chitraketu Maharaj. See, and then Chitraketu Maharaj was really, happy. Lord Nityananda came himself. Who's the spiritual master of the whole of all the universes. He came. See. So Chitraketu Maharaj after that offered prayers to him. We read through some of the prayers, you see, last time. So he offered him prayers to Lord Nityananda. And Lord Nityananda, after his prayers, he blessed him with all the knowledge, you see. And he became a very kind of knowledgeable. He had all the knowledge of the Lord and Vishnu Lord. He became devotee of Krishna or Vishnu, you see. And Lord Vishnu presented him with an aeroplane as well, see. And with that aeroplane, he was going through all the planets, you see. And after that, while traveling, he came to the Sumeru mountain. See. I think I'm right, Sumeru mountain. Sumeru, yeah. Sumeru mountain he came. And he saw Lord Shiva embracing Mother Parvati. She was on his lap, and he was embracing her in front of all the Vidyadharas and all the great sages and all. See. No, I think it says embracing. I read in the Srimad Bhagavatam, he was on the lap and he was embracing her. See, that's what I read. Anyway, see. I'll show you. So he was just probably, as he said, just on the whatever. We were not there. So anyway, he laughed loudly. See that Lord Shiva is a great Vaishnava. You see, how can he in the assembly of great sages and all do things like that? You see, but Lord Shiva, he is a Vaishnava himself. He understands. Whatever rights are wrong, he didn't react at all. But Mother Parvati, she didn't like it. So she cursed Chitraketu to become Asura in the next life. And he became Vritasura. See. So that's how the story of Vritasura came. And we'll read through the verses today, how Vritasura reacted to the curse. See. We'll read through that. Okay. This is the first two verses. No, sorry. Srila Sukadeva Goswami said, after offering obeisances to the direction from which Ananta, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, had disappeared, Chitraketu began traveling in outer space as the head of the Vidyadharas, as we said. Being praised by great sages and saints and by the inhabitants of the Siddha Loka and Charana Loka, Chitraketu, the most powerful mystic yogi, wandered about enjoying life for millions of years. With bodily strength and senses free from deterioration, he traveled within the valleys of Sumeru mountain, which is the place of perfection for various kinds of mystic power. In those valleys, he enjoyed life with the women and of Vidyadhara Loka by chanting the glories of the Supreme Lord Hari. Why do we chant name of Lord Krishna? Because Lord Vishnu says, Naham vasami vaikunthe yoginam hridayena cha madbhakta yad gayanti tatra vasami narada. I stay where my devotees are enjoying my, singing my glories. That's what Lord Krishna says, Lord Vishnu says. So one time while King Chitraketu was traveling in outer space on a brilliantly effulgent airplane given to him by Lord Vishnu, he saw Lord Shiva surrounded by Siddhas and Charanas. Lord Shiva was sitting in an assembly of great saintly persons and embracing Parvati on his lap with his arm. Chitraketu laughed loudly and spoke within the hearing of Parvati. Chitraketu said, Lord Shiva, the spiritual master of the general populace, is the best of all living entities who have accepted material bodies. He enunciates the system of religion. Yet, how wonderful it is that he is embracing his wife, Parvati, in the midst of an assembly of great saintly persons. Lord Shiva, whose hair is matted on his head, has certainly undergone great austerities and penances. Indeed, he is the president in the assembly of strict followers of Vedic principles. Nonetheless, he is seated with his wife on his lap in the midst of saintly persons and is embracing her as if he were shameless, ordinary human being. So this shows that whatever condition Vaishnava should be, we should never criticize. That's what we learn from here. Even though Chitraketu was Vaishnava himself, Lord Shiva is the Param Vaishnava. Is the Vaishnava Naam Shambhu. See. So he is Shambhu is the topmost Vaishnava. So he should, even though he was right or wrong, we should. That's what we learn. We should never criticize any Vaishnava. See. So ordinary conditioned persons generally embrace their wives and enjoy their company in solitary places. How wonderful it is that Lord Mahadeva, although a great master of austerity, is embracing his wife humbly in the midst of an assembly of great saints. Srila Sukadeva Goswami continued, My dear king, after hearing Chitraketu's statement, Lord Shiva, the most powerful personality, whose knowledge is fathomless, simply smiled and remained silent, and all the members of the assembly followed the Lord by not saying anything, because obviously Lord Shiva knew that he is Vaishnava himself. He is saying something, he has felt something about it, and he is saying something about it, you see. So he didn't get offended, he just smiled. Not knowing the prowess of Lord Shiva and Parvati, Chitraketu strongly criticized them. His statements were not at all pleasing, and therefore the goddess Parvati, being very angry, spoke as follows to Chitraketu, who thought himself better than Lord Shiva in controlling the senses. So, Mother Parvati, goddess Parvati, she gets a bit angry, because that always happens. Like when Lord Narayan was hit on the chest by Bhrigu Muni, he didn't mind. Because he's Vishnu himself, you see. That's why Vaishnava should be tolerant. That's why we have to be tolerant, you see, because we have to follow Lord Vishnu. Yajyad acharati shreshtas. Lord Vishnu, he accepted a direct kick on his chest and he didn't react. In fact, he scares his feet, Bhrigu Muni's feet. You must be hurt. My chest is very strong. You must be hurt, you see. So he feels, for his feet. But Mother Lakshmi felt for it. How he dare hit my husband on his chest. So she cursed Brahmanas. They will always be poorer. Whatever you do, you'll always be poorer, you see. That's why Brahmanas, they always strict. They go and ask for the alms in India as well, see. So Vaishnava has to be tolerant. But he smiled, Lord Shiva smiled, didn't react. But Mother Parvati, she got offended, see. That how dare he speak about my husband. See? So the goddess Parvati said, alas, has this upstart now received a post from which to punish shameless persons like us? Has he been appointed ruler, carrier of the rod of punishment? Is he now the only master of everything? Continue. Alas, Lord Brahma, who has taken his birth from the lotus flower, does not know the principles of religion, nor do the great saints like Bhrigu and Narada, nor the four Kumaras, headed by the Sanat Kumara, Manu and Kapila, have also forgotten the religious principles. I suppose it to be because of this that they have not tried to stop Lord Shiva from behaving improperly. This Chitraketu is the lowest of Kshatriyas, for he has impudently overridden Brahma and the other demigods by insulting Lord Shiva, upon whose lotus feet they always meditated. Lord Shiva is personified, region, and the spiritual master of the entire world, and therefore Chitraketu must be punished. So now she is ready to curse. This person is puffed up because of his achievements, thinking, I am the best. He does not deserve to approach the shelter of Lord Vishnu's lotus feet, which are worshipped by all saintly persons, for he is impudent, thinking himself greatly important. O impudent one, my dear son, now take birth in a low, sinful family of demons, so that you will not commit such an offense again toward exalted saintly persons in this world. So Mother Parvati curses Chitraketu to become demon, and he became Vritasura. That's how he became Vritasura. See. So she obviously cursed Chitraketu, but she didn't know that he is also a Vaishnava. He is also tolerant. How he will react, she didn't know. And now Chitraketu himself had powers to counter react. You see. Counter curse, you see. But he didn't do it. He accepted that, and he nicely, spoke to Lord Shiva and Parvati Mata, you see, Mother Parvati, you see. And that we'll read again. Chitraketu said, my dear mother, with my own hands folded together, I accept the curse upon me. I do not mind the curse, for happiness and distress are given by the demigods as a result of one's past deeds. So that teaches us whatever service we get in the temple, though it's hard, we should accept it. We should not react. That's how the Vaishnava quality should be. We should not complain that, no, this is right, this is wrong. Management is wrong. Management is never right, never wrong. They are all doing good for the temple, see, for the development of the temple or progress of the temple. And whatever service they give us, we should accept it, not react or not go and say, this person is giving you too many services, I'm not happy. So if we want to have Vaishnava, we'll learn at the end of the chapter as well that why this story is so important, you see. It's been explained by the Sukadeva Goswami. Why these stories are so important, you see, for us to learn, see. So continuing. Deluded by ignorance, the living entity wanders in the forest of this material world, enjoying the happiness and distress resulting from his past deeds, everywhere and at all times. Therefore, my dear mother, neither you nor I am to be blamed for this incident. So he says that neither you or me should be blamed. This is, in this material world, neither the living entity himself nor others, friends and enemies, are the cause of material happiness and distress. But because of gross ignorance, the living entity thinks that he and others are the cause. This material world resembles the waves of constantly flowing river. Therefore, what is a curse and what is a favor? What are the heavenly planets and what are the hellish planets? What is actually happiness and what is actually distress? Because the waves flow constantly, none of them has an eternal effect. So he says that even the heavenly, for Vaishnavas, there's no difference between heavenly planets or liberation or even hellish planets. They are happy wherever they are. See, as long as they are chanting the holy name of the Krishna, they are happy in every place. You see, every condition. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is one unaffected by the conditions of the material world. He creates all the conditioned souls by his own personal potency. Because of being contaminated by the material energy, the living entity is put into ignorance and thus into different conditions of bondage. Sometimes by knowledge, the living entity is given liberation. In Sattva Guna and Rajo Guna, he is subjected to happiness and distress. So we see all the problems because of Sattva Guna, Rajo Guna and Tamo Guna. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is equally disposed toward all living entities. Therefore, no one is very dear to him and no one is great enemy for him. No one is his friend and no one is his relative. Being unattached to the material world, he has no affection for so-called happiness or hatred, for so-called distress. The two terms, happiness and distress are relative. Since the Lord is always happy, for him there is no question of distress. Yeah, as long as Lord, for Vaishnavas, as long as Lord is pleased, Lord is happy, so any material problems are not, they don't affect Vaishnavas. See, happiness or distress are all the same. See, although the Supreme Lord is unattached to our happiness and distress, according to karma, and although no one is his enemy or favorite, he creates pious and impious activities through the agency of his material potency. Thus, for the continuation of the materialistic way of life, he creates happiness and distress, good fortune and bad, bondage and liberation, birth and death. O Mother, you are now unnecessarily angry. But since all my happiness and distress are destined by my past activities, I do not plead to be excused by relieved from your curse. Although what I have said is not wrong, please let whatever you think is wrong be pardoned. So he accepts. He says, even though I said whatever he said, it was right. Because he was in the Lord Shiva was in the assembly of like great sages and pious people. See, and he shouldn't have. But Lord Shiva is a Parameshna. He can do whatever he likes. He shouldn't be criticizing. But he says, what I said, what I saw, that's what I said. See, so probably he didn't like it. See, that shows that Vaishnava in whatever condition should be criticized. But he criticized. He said, so I was not wrong, and if you are cursing me, accept it. You are also not wrong. See, what you thought of me, the way I spoke, what you thought of me, that's why you are cursing me. So I accept it. See. So he was not affected. Chitraketu was not affected by the curse. He said, okay, I'll become demon. Who will accept now? So he said, if somebody curses, you become demon, we'll react, isn't it? Somebody insults us, you are like this, go and become a demon, we'll instead of become angry. See, he didn't become angry, he accepted, that's fine. See, that's the quality of the Vaishnavas. See, they are always kind. Vancha kalpataru vyascha. They are like a desire tree. They are fulfilling everybody's desires. Sri Sukadeva Goswami continued, O King Parikshit, subduer of enemy, after Chitraketu satisfied Lord Shiva and his wife Parvati, he boarded his airplane and left as they looked on. When Lord Shiva and Parvati saw that Chitraketu, although informed of the curse, was unafraid, they smiled, being fully astonished by his behavior. That is how we should be, see, tolerant. Thereafter, in the presence of the great sage Narada, the demons, the inhabitants of Siddhaloka, and his personal associates, Lord Shiva, who is most powerful, spoke to his wife Parvati while they are listened. See, so now another Vaishnava, he is glorifying the Vaishnava. You see, now like because Parvati Mother Parvati was astonished. He said that I cursed him to become a demon, and he has not reacted. He's accepting it nicely, and in fact, he is saying nice things to me, you see, about it, you see. So he is not completely, he could have reacted, but he is not reacted at all. He has accepted the body of Asura because of my curse, you see. Lord Shiva said, my dear beautiful Parvati, have you seen the greatness of the Vaishnavas, being servants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari? They are great souls and are not interested in any kind of material happiness. So that's the quality of the Lord Shiva says, that they are always servants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's how we have been taught by Srila Prabhupada as well, that we should be servants of the Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna himself says to Arjuna, he says, let me he says, Name ये मे भक्त जना पार्थ न मे भक्तास्त ते जना मद भक्ता नाम च ये भक्ता ते मे भक्त तमामतः. Those who are my direct devotees, they are actually not my devotees, but who are servants of my devotees are my devotees. Lord Krishna also says that. So that's why we have been taught that. Thank you, Prabhuji, for reminding me. Devotees solely engaged in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's what we learned today, that verse. Narayana never fear any condition of life. For them, the heavenly planets, liberation, and the hellish planets are all the same. For such devotees are interested only in the service of the Lord. Because of the actions of the Supreme Lord's external energy, the living entities are conditioned in contact with material bodies. The dualities of happiness and distress, birth and death, curses and favors are natural byproducts of this contact in the material world. So all these problems we face because of the material world. We come in contact with the material world and we get conditioned. That's why we face problems, you see. As one mistakenly considers a flower garland to be a snake or experiences happiness and distress in a dream, so in the material world, by a lack of careful consideration, we differentiate between happiness and distress, considering one good and the other bad. Yeah. So when we are having good time, when in material world we think this is life. Someone I know, I won't take the name, not from the temple, and he's very happy person. You see, he's got everything, very happy. So I told him, if you okay, you are happy, you got plenty of wealth, you are enjoying yourself. That's all right. But next life, you don't know what you're going to get. See? He says, so I don't mind. If I die, if I get same life, if I take birth again, what's wrong? We are enjoying here, aren't we? So we should come back here. But I said, but that's not guaranteed. Then you get the same body. Because you are not Krishna conscious. You are not worshipping Krishna. So there's least chance, even if you do pious activities, you might get the human body. But it's not guaranteed. That's not guaranteed, you see. You might enter into some other species from the 840 million, see. Jalajar Nava Lakshani, see. You might enter into that kind of bodies, see. But you say, no, we might come into the same bodies. Well, good luck to you, see. What else can you say? So, the Lord Shiva also said that because we come into contact with in material world, and we think we are enjoying, but that's only temporary, see. When the body is finished, everything is gone, see. As one mistakenly considers, okay, we read that, okay, text 31. Persons engaged in devotional service to Lord Vasudeva, Krishna, have naturally perfect knowledge and detachment from this material world. Therefore, such devotees are not interested in so-called happiness or so-called distress of this world. So because we come to temple, we learn with the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and so many other Vaishnavas that what our life is, what our body is, what we are not this body. We are only temporary. Body is only temporary. The one inside, self, is the permanent one. See, when we realize that, and we realize that we are only spark of Krishna, Lord Vishnu, and then we understand. That's how we Vaishnavas or devotees of Krishna understand the life. See, so any happiness comes or distress comes, doesn't matter. See, many people, they come to the temple and they ask that why bad thing happens to the devotees, because devotees is not bothered. See, that's what we learned today's verse. He is happy, whichever, as long as he is serving Krishna, he is happy. See, we learned about I'm forgetting the name of the devotee who passed away from Manor, Shrutidharan Prabhu. See, he was, before he died, I think few months before he died, he came and gave class in the temple. You see, very nice class. You see, very touching. See, so he was not at all affected. You see, that's the quality of the Vaishnava. You see, we feel very sad about it, but he was okay. You see, neither I, Lord Shiva, nor Brahma, nor the Ashwini Kumaras, nor Narada, or the other great sages who are Brahma's sons, nor even the demigods can understand the pastimes and personality of the Supreme Lord. Although we are part of the Supreme Lord, we consider ourselves independent, separate controllers, and thus we cannot understand His identity. Yeah, so if we become ignorant, then we can understand who Krishna is. He holds no one as very dear and no one as inimical. He has no one for his own relative, and no one is alien to him. He is actually the soul of all living entities. Thus he is the auspicious friend of all living entities, living beings, and is very near and dear to all of them. So he is always with us, very near and dear. This magnanimous Chitraketu is dear devotee of the Lord. He is equal to all living entities and is free from attachment and hatred. Similarly, I am also very dear to Lord Narayana. Therefore, no one should be astonished to see the activities of the most exalted devotees of Narayana, for they are free from attachment and envy. They are always peaceful and they are equal to everyone. That's what we want to learn, to become like the exalted devotees of the Lord. See, like Srila Prabhupada. See, even on his deathbed, he was reciting. Srimad Bhagavatam. See, we've seen many of us must have seen that video. See, just few days before he passed away, he was reciting Srimad Bhagavatam. Sri Sukhadev Goswami said, "O king, after hearing this speech by her husband, the demigoddess Uma, the wife of Lord Shiva, gave up her astonishment at the behavior of King Chitraketu and became steady in intelligence. The great devotee Chitraketu was so powerful that he was quite competent to curse Mother Parvati in retaliation, but instead of doing so, he very humbly accepted the curse and bowed his head before Lord Shiva and his wife. This is very much to be appreciated as the standard behavior of Vaishnava." Being cursed by Mother Durga, Bhavani, the wife of Lord Shiva, that same Chitraketu accepted birth and demonic species of life. Although still fully equipped with transcendental knowledge and practical application of that knowledge in life, he appeared as a demon of the fire sacrifice performed by Tvashta, and thus he became famous as Vritasura. So even because he was a Vaishnava, he accepted himself humbly, the demonic body. Because he was in that body, even while he was fighting with Indra, he remembered all those etiquettes, qualities. And that's how he was telling him. His Vajra fell down. He told him, "You are on the battlefield. Take your Vajra. Come on, fight. Why you are giving up fighting? Get up." So that's the quality of the Vaishnava. He was demon. He could have killed him at that time, but he didn't. My dear King Parikshit, you inquired from me how Vritasura, a great devotee, took birth in a demoniac family. Thus I have tried to explain to you everything about this. Chitraketu was a great devotee, Mahatma. If one hears this story, so this is very nice, hears this story of Chitraketu from a pure devotee, the listener also is freed from the conditional life of material existence. Hari Bol. Ananda Koti Vaishnavas. One who rises from bed early in the morning and recites this history of Chitraketu, controlling his words and mind and remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead, will return from back to Godhead without difficulty. So, we learn from that we should rise early in the morning. And even if we hear this story, I was just reading through actually. Even if we hear this story, it's guaranteed by Sukadeva Goswami that we'll go back to Goloka with now. So I think we are guaranteed today. I think even we have a 9th verse in the. Let me find it. Yes, in the 9th verse of our it says Srimad Gurur Ashtakam Etad Uchchair Brahme Maurute Patati Pratnat Yastena Vrindavana Nath Sakshat Sevaiva Labhya Janushonta Eva. And what's the translation? One who with great care and attention loudly recites this beautiful prayer to the spiritual master during the Brahma Muhurta obtains direct service to Krishna, the Lord of Vrindavan, at the time of his death. That's the Guru Ashtakam we read. This is the 9th verse in that one, see, which we don't recite actually. That's to be recited. We don't sing, but it's to be recited at the end, see. So, yeah, that's the 9th verse of Samsara Dava. See. Yes. So we normally don't read, but we should read through it. Yeah. Yes. So I'll stop here. If anybody has any comments, questions, if I've offended anybody, if said anything wrong.
This is most okay. You want to go ahead first? You finished, Prabhu? Everything?
Yes, I finished.
Okay.
Yes.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for going through this pastime, very nice pastime of Chitraketu Maharaj.
Thank you.
His interesting incident and altercation with Lord Shiva. So when we look at this pastime, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, he comments on this pastime all the time, that Chitraketu Maharaj is not an offender, in the same way that Daksha is an offender. Because if Chitraketu was an offender, then all the sages who were sitting there would have closed their ears and run away from that place, because they cannot hear Vaishnava Prad. But he also comments, Prabhupada also comments again in the purports, that Parvati is also correct to curse him. And so I think something very nice from this pastime that we learn is, in this case, neither party is wrong. Yeah. Chitraketu Maharaj is correct because he states an observation, how a pure devotee can be sitting with his wife giving class. And Parvati is also correct because you cannot interrupt like this. You cannot come and interrupt this kind of session like this. And Lord Shiva is also pure devotee. So I find this pastime very interesting compared to Daksha Yajna pastime, where Daksha is clearly a Vaishnava Pradi there. Here, this one's, I wanted to just make that point, that this is an interesting pastime because although there's a curse that happens, both parties are correct. So I thought that was very nice.
Yes, so in short, whichever condition Vaishnava is, so as long as he's Vaishnava, he's realized Krishna conscious person, we shouldn't offend him. That's what, it's up to him what condition he is in, you see. So that's what is as you said, you see. They were both right from their perspective. See, what he saw, he commented about, and she saw the behavior, she commented about, she cursed about. You see, Mother Parvati. That's, and I think in Daksha's case, he offended Lord Shiva directly. See, that's why probably he got cursed. He was beheaded. I can remove that now, isn't it?
Yeah. Done?
Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay. You have some points? Yes. Question? Okay. Clarification.
You have a question?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Can I just say something? Actually, there was number of things going on through my mind while this past time we were just reciting. So just 2 days ago, we discussed Daksha Yajna pastime. We have just begun 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Lord Shiva is such a great personality. Although Daksha criticized, offended, and cursed Lord Shiva, and also his main associate Nandishwar was counter-cursing, there was so much going on, he kept quiet. He was silent. He was rebuked by Daksha. So great personality, and Prabhupada writes in the purport we have read that how great, this is a quality of Vaishnava. Is Vaishnava Shrestha, Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu, is one of the greatest Vaishnava, is showing by example Acharya. There is, we can all become devotees when everything is going on nicely. People say, Prabhu, you're so nice, you're cooking nice, you're giving class nicely, you're managing nicely. Then we become happy, we come to temple.
Nice prasadam.
Yes, but when there is a test, when someone rebukes you, when severely someone offends you, how do you feel that time? That is the test. And how we should see the behavior of a Vaishnava. If he is Vaishnava, true Vaishnava, then he tolerates. This is what we all should realize. We all should realize there is so much gravity to this message that I'm talking about. Unless there is a test, you don't know what kind of person you are. Yes? Someone must rebuke you severely, even though you are right. If you are not wrong, yes, if you are wrong, someone rebukes you, what is that?
No.
Anyway, so I deserve that. But you are right, and someone still rebukes you, offends you, criticizes you, and that's the test. One may give lecture, one may speak externally so many brilliant things, but when the test comes, how that person behaves,
Yes.
that's what we should see. Lord Shiva, 2 instances we depict actually. In the case of Daksha Yajna, Daksha clearly offended, criticized, and here Chitraketu said something. But in that assembly, in both occasions he was quiet. He was silent.
So he's smiling.
He was quiet. Actually, in that assembly, when Lord Shiva was lecturing here, who were there, Can anybody know? Narad was sitting. Kumar they didn't say anything. Like, Nandi is, of course, his own associate, but Kumaras and Narad, they were there. They didn't say anything.
No.
They didn't say anything. But in both cases, he was tolerant. That's why Prabhupada calls him Dhira, a sober person. A sober person, really, what does a sober person means? He tolerates both happiness and misery. That is a sober person. Prabhupada calls him as Dhira. A wonderful, wonderful example for a Vaishnava. What a Vaishnava to be. It's not that, you do so many other things, but this is the real test. Yes, I'm just, repeating the same point because I see so many things behind the scenes or elsewhere. But this is a devotee. And wanted to share another point also. There is another point here. Chitraketu said something, but say for example, although Lord Shiva was embracing and Mother Parvati sat on his lap, Lord Shiva did not got affected.
No.
You see? But you should not show that example. He can drink poison. Prabhupada says, if you want to embrace your wife in the public like this, but first drink poison.
Yes.
Alahal. He drank. Yeah? He drank poison and he is still alive. So for a great person, he was not affected at all. But however, for setting good example for common people, we should set a good example. For common people, just to he was giving lecture to sages. That is a completely different story. But for us, what is the story? For us is that for setting a good example to other people, we must always observe Vaishnava etiquette.
Yes.
Set example to others. And if you have love, then you can embrace privately. That's not a problem.
But they speak about Lord Krishna as well, that he did conjugal love and all this,
Yeah.
So they say about, but he is Lord himself, he is the owner of everything. See.
But again, in the story here as well, sometimes mistakenly you said something, and then how do you receive that? Chitraket Maharaj here, he tolerated that, he received it. And that is another example of Vaishnava behavior. And he said, this entire material world from down to the bottom, it is like hell only. Whether you live in the heaven or whether you live in the hell, it is hell only. Because anyway, there will be problems. So, and that is... So that is another point from Chitraketu point of view. In case if we say, sometimes something unnecessarily in the public, then that is how we should receive. Two exalted Vaishnavas. The tolerance of two exalted Vaishnavas. And again, this is how we should test a Vaishnava. We should understand. When there is a problem, how does this person behaves? When you are right, someone criticizes you. How do you behave? That is the real test. Hare Krishna. Sorry, I gave a big thing, but these were going through my mind. I was trying to correlate between Daksha's pastime that we studied on Thursday and here. Sorry, Prabhu. Go on.
It's a story of Vaishnava versus Vaishnava. How we should behave. That's what Prabhuji is trying to explain. Yes.
Makes sense, Prabhu? Any comments on that?
No, brilliant, Prabhuji. No, it's right. Yes.
Hare Krishna,
good question,
Prabhuji. Thank you for the class. And one quality which I learned was about tolerance. It was very much emphasized throughout this pastime. The question which I have is in the class you said that about the management, we should tolerate what is right, even if something is when we are doing service, if anything is wrong we should tolerate. But I have a question because if we, especially when we are doing service, when it comes to ourselves we can always tolerate, but when it's some service is there, something is going wrong, so what do you mean by we should tolerate?
Service given to you or given to somebody else?
Service is given to me, or in general some service is there.
Given to you. You were doing something wrong, or service something? How is going wrong? I don't understand.
If I am doing something wrong, something is going wrong. But even in general, if some service is there in the temple, someone is doing, but something is going wrong, and you are observing it. In that case,
so you need to sit with the management. If something is going wrong, you have to sit peacefully and explain what's going wrong and try to solve it. There's nothing wrong in it, see. But you should not retaliate. You should not show your, this is not wrong, this is right. Yeah. Prabhuji was saying that they say management is rascal, you see. How dare they say things like that? What have they contributed in the temple, you see? What kind of contribution they have in the temple, in the service? How can they say about the management, see?
Yeah. Can I just say that? I think you should speak.
Yeah.
See, the point here is that offense and explaining
It's a different thing. It's a different thing, yeah, see.
There is something going wrong, something goes wrong, you can always open up.
Yes.
But sometimes, see again, there are two sides to the coin, any coin.
Yeah.
There are two sides to the story. So I may see in one angle, yes, but we don't know what's the other angle is. So we should speak up. And again, so I heard actually in one lecture, say for example, if there are a couple of temples, like this temple is there. If you are completely having some issues here, nobody's listening, then you should tell some other management also. So no problem. Or like here there are 5 members. So if one member is not listening to you, then you got other 4 members. So then if you observe something, you must report.
Yeah, something is wrong, it has to be put it right, isn't it? It should be resolved. If we leave it as wrong, then it'll keep growing wrong and wrong and wrong. See?
We are all acting as a servants of Lord Krishna, Prabhupada. So
Yes.
if something is going wrong, then if you are keeping quiet also not good.
Yes, it sounds good, yes,
You
yes.
can open up. Open up.
So
This
he,
is the most important.
that's what we learned today. So he had it in his mind that this is wrong, see, Chitraketu. And he said it, see. And it was resolved by Lord Shiva and Lord Parvati. Although he got the body of, he accepted the body of demon. But in that body also he showed the quality of Vaishnava. And after death, he went back to Godhead, Chitraketu, see, Vritasura. When he was killed, he went back to Lord Krishna, Golak Vrindavan, straight away. Because he showed that quality, those qualities, even in body of demons, you see.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think Baladev Vidyabhushan writes in this section, same section, that if Vaishnavas have issues with other Vaishnavas, they should never do in public. That's the main thing he
Yes.
says. So if you have a problem, I can say now to you in front of everyone, but you should do it in private. Yeah, it should be done in private.
So other Vaishnavas were sitting there.
Yeah,
Yes.
and it disturbs the flow of the class. That Shiva is now giving class, it disturbs the flow. So actually what should be done is done after in class, yeah.
Lord Shiva and said,
Sat down in the class, waited, and then, yeah.
Like,
they are God brothers.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
both from Ananta.
Shiva, they are God.
God brothers, yes.
They both worship Ananta, Lord Ananta.
That's it. Nityanand, yes. Lord
They are
Nityanand.
God brothers. So they could have, he could have taken Lord Shiva privately and
Lord Shiva, in fact, Sadashiva is in fact part of Nityananda, Sheshnag, you see. He is expansion of Lord Nityananda, you see.
Yeah.
Sadashiva.
You're right, I think not in the public. Not in the public.
Yeah.
Not in the public. Because problems are everywhere.
It has-
Your own family, between wife and husband, between son and daughter, and
It needs to be resolved.
mother and
Yes.
son, you have problems. So these can be discussed in privately.
Yes, Mataji.
Does it answer your question, right? Because definitely it has to be opened up.
So Lord Shiva clarified, who was, because Mother Parvati was astonished that how he behaved. Even if I cursed him, he behaved nicely, you see. He accepted and he said nice things, you see. But then Lord Shiva explained everything, why he is accepting it. See. Yes, Mataji.
No, in that one translation, it says that Chitraketu Maharaj, he didn't explain, he didn't counter curse. I'm wondering why he could have explained, Mother, it is not intention.
They don't need to, because they are
He accepted it.
yes,
There is no point. Once the curse is there, he accepted
yes,
it. There is no need to beg forgiveness. So he took it as Lord's mercy and yes.
yes.
I mean, that is his tolerance. He's not going to say that I'm right.
So
Isn't it?
like Prabhuji say, even if we are rebuked severely sometimes, even if we are not wrong, we are rebuked. That's the Vaishnava quality. We should accept it. Okay, so Prabhuji, if I have offended you in any way, please forgive me. I'm sorry. That is how we need to be. That's what we learn from these subjects anyway. See, that's why it's good to have, even if we are not many, but if we take up subjects like that, we'll learn how to behave with the people coming to temple. You see, That's how we'll attract more people in, because they'll think about us that they are tolerant. They are good people, you see. That is our quality.
Actually, he did mistake probably. Dadadi, Pradeep, they have to talk in private. You should not tell the fault of others in open.
Yeah.
He accepted that mistake.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
Parvati, no, Parvati also, she is also a Vaishnava.
Yes.
Once Shiva is Chitraketu says something wrong about Shiva, no, she is not because she is also the.
She's right in doing that.
She is a servant of
The
Shiva.
thing is, see, when another point they say, Prabhupada says, sorry to interrupt you there. If one criticizes you, you can tolerate. But if someone is criticizing you in front of me, then I should not.
Not tolerate, yes.
No,
she's right.
She is right.
She's right.
But Chitraketu, he was telling in open.
She's right.
That is a
Probably
mistake.
she could have rebuked rather than cursing. But I think, like, curse is a little bit of big thing.
And even if we read,
Because
we read that he could have retaliated as well with a curse, counter curse, you see. He could have retaliated, but he didn't.
Got that anatta that needs to be eradicated.
Yeah.
Only he will become a pure devotee.
Yeah.
So there is a chance. That chance has been given by Parvati.
Yeah.
So it's all, it is given, no, everything is happens because of the past karma and past mistakes. So,
That's it, yeah.
so it has to happen like that.
True.
But she is not.
But Chitraketu is pure devotee. That's the thing, so no one is wrong. Parvati is right, Chitraketu is right, and Lord Shiva is
Little
right.
thing is that.
No. But
Prabhupada
Acharyas
said no
don't
one is
explain
wrong.
like that. Acharyas don't explain that. But even Lord Shiva,
Lord
did
Shiva
he say
says
anything?
nothing
Oh, you did good thing that he was wrong. Did he say? He didn't say like that.
Yeah, Lord
If you
Shiva
read,
appreciated
we
it.
just heard.
Who
Lord,
did good thing?
Parvati.
what did Lord
No,
Shiva
no.
say? No, what did
No
Lord Shiva
one
say?
wants to curse actually.
No, but what did Lord Shiva say about Chitraketu?
Chitraketu is an exalted devotee, so he
So
has
did he say,
accepted.
Mother
He is very
Parvati, did he
tolerant.
tell his wife that you have done a good thing, that he offended
How he
me?
will say, Prabhuji? He doesn't like that one.
So he actually praised. He actually
Yeah, he
praised. So it's like
So
three are
for
right.
For him, no, distress and happiness is same. For Chitraketu
But
also distress and happiness is same.
in my opinion, again, you are right. Baldev Vidyabhushan says that he could have done it privately rather than publicly. That's the point. I'm not ready. I think that
And this
makes
would
more
not have
sense.
happened. Wouldn't have happened this
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
This curse.
And that we learned from that story of Lord Vishnu as well. Brigumuni, kicked on his chest.
Interesting pastime. Sometimes these things happen.
But Lord Vishnu didn't react. In fact, he said, "You must have hurt your feet. My chest is very strong." So that time Brigumuni had tears in his eyes. He was also Vaishnava, you see. He had tears in his eyes, you see. He didn't react. Lord Vishnu didn't react. But Mother Lakshmi cursed Brahmins. That he, how dare you?
Prabhuji, Mother Lakshmi, no, she is
See.
always, she is a servant of Vishnu.
Yeah,
Yes.
When he is attacked, no, she is showing her.
So that's what, as Prabhuji said, Prabhupada has taught us, you see. Vaishnava, another person should not offend Vaishnava, you see.
Same thing for us.
Yeah,
also,
see,
Prabhuji.
yeah.
When our spiritual master is someone is blaspheming, no, we will react for that one.
Yes.
Definitely same thing.
Yes,
It is
yes.
Yesterday,
The nature of the Vaishnava.
even Nandi.
Yeah,
So
Nandi
Nandi did not keep quiet when
Lord Shiva.
to Shiva. Shiva kept quiet, but Nandi didn't. So that's all right, but Nandi little bit went too far. He started cursing off everyone present there. But this is very interesting. Yeah.
Okay, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanande.
Where's Vilasj Prabhu ki jai, who ignited a lot of discussion.
It's a weird pastime, because everyone is right, it's so weird.
I don't know why, but I still agree that maybe Chitraketu Maharaj would have done it slightly